Hi, my name is Claire Moss, and I want to welcome you to my Atomic Talk. So you want to shift right over into DevOps at TestFlix 2021. After years of hearing DevOps culture and processes would put me out of my agile testing job, I was truly curious. What was it about DevOps that would prove to be the fatal blow? After all of the other things people claimed would be the end of testing as a career. To find out, I shifted my approach and went over into DevOps, first as a tester and later executing delivery work myself. If you are considering this move or just curious about my experiences, I recommend my change process. First, examine your portable skills. Even if the rumors are true and testing as a dedicated role no longer provided value, we tester team members do provide value. What do you do as part of your testing role or activities that might map to a more integrated delivery team? From my perspective on the dev side of DevOps, I was going to bring the goodness of Agile to the ops side. Little did I know that the ops side had a similar feeling about bringing DevOps to the Agilists. I was very glad to find that we were pulling toward one another instead of away. And I want to share with you a sketch I made about this. So here you can see a bunch of different job titles that I think roll up under the big umbrella of dev. So developers also include many different other technology specialists, and I would include the testers under that big umbrella, along with the product manager and all of the other people who are on the cross-functional Agile team who are providing the production of the artifact that will be serving the customer. So that's a pretty big, broad definition of development. And then if we look at some of the different things that influence dev, we have metrics that measure their progress, and we have barriers that prevent them from being successful. We have activities they undertake, and then there are enabling factors that will make them more successful in the roles. On the other side of DevOps is, of course, ops. And so that is also a very big umbrella. And I'm sure that there are roles in both of these big umbrellas that I haven't covered. But here you would see my current job, which is SRE, which is Site Reliability Engineer, and many other more production-focused roles. And obviously those roles have the same kinds of factors where there are metrics that measure success, activities that we execute, barriers that prevent success, the impact of the work, and the enablers that make it better. When you bring DevOps together, those things shift a bit. So I'm not going to try to read to you from my sticky notes, but the point is you can do this analysis to try to get a feel for what's going on with your teams. So there are different kinds of metrics that you would care about, depending on which roles you are focused on. So most companies are not completely flat, and so there would be at least some kind of management present, and security tends to be a concern in our area as well. So that is by no means a comprehensive breakdown, but these are common roles you might run into when you're talking about DevOps. So this is the part where this is the second step of sorting through those process and role differences. Obviously, the job titles you saw on my sketches were things that I read about, things that I encountered in real life. There may be other titles that you'll run into, so don't feel like my sketches are in some way limiting to you figuring out your context. So while there are these many job titles for delivery team members, there are a set of common needs that can give you insight in addition to the context-specific requirements and activities that, of course, your teams are going to have. So in the past, people had coached me as a tester to leave production to the operations and support team members, unless they called me in for escalated troubleshooting of an urgent client issue, which did happen. Now I no longer have to listen to this artificial separation between what I could do and what I was invited to do. Contributing and to resolving issues is just as satisfying as understanding them through exploration. In fact, I still struggle against the urge to understand why a problem is occurring and to instead focus on mitigating the symptoms, even if I have to sacrifice the compromised environment and lose the chance to explore later. I still want that opportunity, but it's not always possible. Next in the process is to strategize your approach to these new challenges. So as you saw, I broke down some different factors that would influence the work. You don't have to go that granular, but I was looking more at several different focuses of the information that I wanted. So when I was moving to my new role, I came up with several charters that appealed to my strengths. So before I changed roles, I was observing SREs executing a heuristic analysis with dev and ops team members, delivery team members. And as an exploratory testing expert, I knew this would be a great fit for me, and it's one of my favorite activities. In my work as a test coach, I researched exploratory structures in different software delivery roles. And for site reliability engineering, I found chaos engineering and was fascinated. I wanted to explore to experience the relationship to exploratory testing for myself, since I'd never seen these kinds of testing before. And I had heard that production was the most interesting place to be. And I agreed it was the one test that needs to pass, or at least to quickly recover from failure. That meant digging into observability to see how tooling could support discovering issues for later testing, possibly automation. Now, that's been my journey, but let's focus on you. What will help you to shift right over into DevOps? Using your existing testing skill, come up with a set of burning questions you want to answer. You saw the charters that were a focus for me. Those may not be the same value that you're seeking for yourself. So what charters do you want to investigate? And if you want to use an exploratory testing template to organize your thoughts, it can really help focus what you want to investigate. As I said, there are many different aspects of the work that are quite fascinating. I think I'll be interested for many years to come. Now that you have put together a list of the things that are drawing you to DevOps that you want to know more about, how would you run a small experiment to test your interest? Come up with a next step that is desirable, feasible, and viable, just like you would with a cross-functional Agile team where you have the perspectives of many different roles. Start your shift off right. Apply your testing mindset in support of DevOps to shift the whole delivery team in the right direction. Thanks for coming to my Atomic Talk, and enjoy the rest of TestFlix 2021.